Test. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Hey guys, I'm making a live vlog video. I decided this would be kind of fun. Haven't one of these in a while, and definitely never live. Just figured like kind of letting the air about it on YouTube. Yes. So looks like I got 3 viewers already. It's not bad. Hey guys. So I guess since Valentine's almost around the corner, I guess I'll make a themed for love. I guess all forms of love, marriage, uh, boyfriend, girlfriend, and whatever. Well, some of you may know I am not a single bachelor anymore. So marriage life is a little bit tricky. But if I had to say one thing, I would say what every single person ever says that gets married or is in a long-term relationship. Probably the only important thing with marriage is communication. Literally, like anyone says, open, honest communication. If you communicate with each other, you'll be fine in the long term because as anybody knows, if you're in school, that one time the teacher catches you chewing gum in class, the one time you're caught texting inside the classroom, that's all it takes. And then guess what? Now you're the problem child. And it takes years to build trust, and it only takes a couple of minutes to put it away. And so when you're with somebody for the rest of your life or for 5, 10, 20 years, you have to maintain that trust balance as good as you can. It doesn't take a whole lot to ruin that. I mean, that goes with just anything. I mean, if you're at a job and they caught you in the back of the kitchen eating some food off of someone's plate, right? It would just take the one time, even if you worked there for 20 years. All it would take for them to lose all trust in you. It's just the way it is. That's why people like I don't know. I'm not too experienced in this, but like they have the old saying, once a cheater, always a cheater. If once a player, always a player, blah blah blah. The list goes on and on with sayings like that. And I guess the best that you can ever do or hope to do is just be honest with each other and be honest with yourself more importantly, because if you always know what you want and you are communicating with what you want, then if you don't get what you want, you have no one to blame but yourself, because now it's very clear what the boundaries are, what the needs are, because it's always being communicated. And I think a problem that a lot of people make is, they don't really say enough what they want. They say too much what they don't want. And I see this a lot. I see this with so many people I know, even strangers and people I barely know. Everybody, if you go on Facebook, what's the first thing they say? Oh man, I hate Trump supporters. Oh boy, I hate that my boyfriend is talking to his ex. Oh man, I really hate this guy because he's not vegan. Whatever the case is, people will only ever focus on the things that they hate, and therefore they bring more of what they hate, because now that's out there. That energy, if you want to call it, has already been permeated. And so now the only thing that will be drawn in the situation in the future is just going to be more of that. And so it's an unavoidable cataclysm, but from a very, very preventable start. It's just like the butterfly effect. That's a good simile. And the flap of a butterfly wings causes an earthquake in China, that kind of shit. Just in case you guys don't get that. Yeah, things are tricky in the world. It's never so simple. Never so simple. Because you can think you have the right answers, and then they're not the right answers. You can think you know it, and then you don't. You can think you don't know, and you do. The only certainty we have is uncertainty, just as very famous people have quoted. Actually, isn't that Isaac Newton? The only thing I know for certain is I know nothing. The only thing I know for is I know nothing. Says that. I'm actually curious. Socrates? Oh, Socrates. Well, a couple thousand years too late, I guess. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, well, yeah, right. But Yeah, I actually never done anything like this. This is kind of interesting. I didn't think I was gonna get any viewers, but hello. Um, what is anything you guys want me to talk about other than just basic downtime shit? I mean, I don't want to be bland or anything, you know. It's never good to be bland. Well, I guess status update then, if anyone's curious, because I don't really talk about my personal life on this channel, which I'm not going to now. It's never good to do that. Blog update. I've now been living in Japan now since last year June, and I'm finally about to get a cell phone. And then, as much as well, that's personal business, and I guess I might get divorced. I don't know. And so, yeah, it's wait. What the fuck is my mic low? What do you mean you can't hear me? Wait, it says my mic's on. Wait, my mic is kind of low, isn't it? Oh, sorry, dude. Um, can you hear me better? But yeah, Japan's pretty nice. Most of the people here are respectful. Not everybody, but most. Most. Oh, I think my favorite thing about here is probably just the general culture because it's very opposite to American culture. It's usually, unless people are Americanized or don't fit in here, it's a very non-aggressive culture. So if you see someone chewing or spitting, you don't really say anything because it's like that whole idea it takes two to tango. That's very popular in a lot of some people's belief systems, but it's not popular at all in America. You know, like if you see a guy that's cutting in line, your first instinct is to honk and cuss him out. But here, it believes that. So, for example, let's pretend I'm accusing you of something, or I'm angry, right? Or I'm yelling, or I'm on the phone, or blah blah blah. If no one engages me, it limits the disharmony of a situation. So the minute that you start getting angry at the person, or you start trying to correct them, you therefore have now not doubled the disharmony, but you've quadrupled it. You've made it magnitudes worse than it was than if you were to just try to isolate yourself from engaging in that situation as much as possible. Um, I mean, actually, you know what's funny is I was actually looking this up since somebody in the background brought up divorce. Japan actually has a very, very low divorce rate compared to America. Most people never get divorced. Well, the divorce laws here are a little tricky though because they like, for example, the few percentage of divorces that happen, 90% of them happen through a mutual consensus paper, which just means you go to uh, like an office that goes for notarization, right? And then you both just sign it, and then it's done. But the reason that's not that also the divorce is so low is if you're part of the 10% or whatever percentages and the other person doesn't sign, it's almost impossible in court to get a divorce because Japan's rules is you're kind of guilty until proven innocent, not innocent until proven guilty. But that goes for the difference too. So like the amount of proof one would need in order to prove like mental instability is like fucking atrocious. It's almost impossible. So yeah, it's really really hard to get divorced here. There's actually some people that were complaining about it online too because like yeah, if you're a foreigner and you don't know about Japanese law, and you have a spouse that won't sign or you won't sign, yeah, it's a nightmare. It's a fucking nightmare to get divorced. Yeah, it can take years. It can take longer than the marriage in some cases, right? But yeah, well, and that's one of the reasons Japan is so careful about letting people in, because, like for example, there's a lot of Filipinos, which I was reading into this. I mean, no offense to Filipinos, obviously, but there's Filipinos that take advantage of this by what they'll do is they'll marry a Japanese person and then suddenly show their true nature, and then the Japanese person attempts to divorce the Filipino, and then they just won't sign the divorce paperwork for the 3 years. Like they'll be homeless, they'll live in the park, they don't care. they just want to be Japanese. And then for 3 years they won't sign the paperwork, and then finally when they're a full citizen, they sign the paperwork, and then they're blah 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 free or whatever it is. But yeah, in America it's not quite like this because it's a no fault country, the United States. So if you're living in the U.S. and you want to get divorced, and the other person won't sign, then you can put in a motion that doesn't even have to prove emotional instability. Now it takes money and it takes time, but it's like fucking 20 times easier than it does in Japan. I don't know why Japan makes it so hard. Um, but yeah, hopefully nobody watching or anyone that's gonna watch this recording is gonna be thinking about divorcing around Valentine's Day. It's supposed to be the season of love, right? But you know, yeah, I don't know. I decided to record because I just felt like I had like sometimes when you felt like that swell of like hot in you, like that excess of energy, and you just really want to release it to something. So I mean, I don't know, man. I did one other talk like this, and I think this live video has already had more viewers than that whole talk did. And it was something about science or some shit. It wasn't even entertaining, but yeah, whatever. I mean, like I said, most of my stuff is programming and game related, but I mean, I've been doing some blog videos with my at the now wife, and we were making videos on a channel and stuff, and so I just was like, fuck it, I might as well do the paradigm shift. I'm not usually not the personable, look at me kind of person, but whatever. So where are you guys from? Look here, you're from Mexico? Oh no, not Mexico. Okay, anybody from like Europe or America or? Oh, you're Filipino. I'm sorry, dude. I didn't. I'm not. Hey, dude. I'm not dissing Philippines. Seriously, I'm not trying to diss you. It's just something that popped up on the website I was looking up. So nobody from Europe. I guess I'm popular in Asia then, or and in Mexico. Wink. I feel like getting one of those shirts that says "I'm big in Asia." Have you ever seen those? Oh God, it's. I probably wouldn't do it. You guys are kind of racist or some shit. But yeah, I made some cake yesterday. The last video I just did. I don't know if it's published or not. But I know that um me and my partner recorded it yesterday, and it was about making cake. And spoiler alert, I make the best cake. Like 10 out of 10, Gordon Ramsay approved. But yeah, you know, I think that I guess I don't want to go back on the same like shitty topic, but I guess the most important thing with marriage, since I'm obviously talking on the standpoint of someone who's married, um, you got to find somebody that, while you're dating, not married, but on the dating aspect, um, isn't somebody that is very prone to like quitting things, or somebody who's like, like the throwaway personalities, be like, oh, I can't do this, I'm done with it, blah blah blah. Because that's in marriage. It's not really what that's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about spending as much effort and time as you can to make something work, because that's what kind of the whole idea behind marriage is. So you know, you got to find and obviously, you can't make a mistake. I'm not talking any similes, but I'm saying, generally speaking, wink or no wink, quotations or no quotations, is if you're with somebody and there's hostility, and you or them always want to leave each other, and you're just dating, yeah, marriage is probably not going to be a good idea, because you guys can't even stand each other when you're not forced to be together legally, right? You know, love is tricky though. I can't tell any of you guys what to do, because love is unscientific. Can't really quantify love. It's a feeling, it's emotion, it's a that regurgitated thing inside of us. It's very primal, I guess, right? Kind of like our need to eat, and to have sex, or whatever it is. It's just this primal urge, right, to be one with someone or something. And I don't know. Hmm. Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky, tricky, tricky. Well, I would say, yeah, Jesus Christ. Okay, I just lost like two viewers. I'm sorry, dude. Okay, so no one else leaves. I'll get back to talking and not staring off into the distance like some weird. I would say, um, personal, non-personal, because it's a vlog, right? Um, I would say that one of my strengths is that I have a high tolerance for the, like the unpleasantness that goes with things, whether it comes to relationships, to work, whatever it is, because I just know that problems are always a part of something. However, my big problem is I'm an overthinker. So if I see one thing with somebody or something, my brain doesn't just look at it as it is. Most likely, it looks at everything it could be, and therefore it just multiplies every possible scenario, every little dot that's connected, whether it's connected or not connected. And oh man, when that shit starts happening, you create more problems than there are. And now, technically, I think that state of mind is great for business. So if you're trying to start a business, or you guys are trying to like accomplish something, it's great. If your brain connects every dot that is or isn't there, well, if you're trying to think of ways to uh, help your customers, you're trying to look at a way to grow your business, then you're going to see things that other people wouldn't even think of. But when it comes to relationship, that's supposed to be very cut and dry, because I think relationships are kind of cut and dry. If you think about it, it really is supposed to be just communication, love, effort, whatever. And when you overthink things and you look at a situation and you go, well, maybe they mean this, maybe they're hiding this, maybe they're really saying this, blah blah blah, and then you start to think too much about it. I think what eventually ends up happening is you start creating your own problems in your head, and then those problems in your head manifest into problems in the relationship, and then the relationship eventually fails because to even no matter how alike or disalike you are, you're still always going to be different people. Um, like I actually heard a really funny quote too. Is when you want to find somebody, be a magnet. Always find your opposite. So if you're outgoing, you find somebody that's the furthest from outgoing. If you're somebody that is very scientific and technological and very articulatedly and thought based, you want to find someone that's very opposite, someone artistic, very emotional, very passionate. Because what will happen is there's not going to be any of those days where you kind of keep eating Frosted Flakes or Cheerios kind of scenarios. You guys, for anybody that watches this in the future, because I know that you just said you're not from America, but if anyone watches this recording and you're from America, what essentially the simile is in old American culture, your parents get you your favorite box of cereal, right? Which means like the perfect identical of what you want or think you want, and then you eat it, right? And for the first couple weeks or years or months, you're like, this cereal fucking amazing, yum 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 yum, right? But then after time and after you've gone through a couple grades, you start looking at that same cereal and going, oh, it's so typical, it's so stagnant. There's nothing new to this. It's the most boring thing in the world. I thought I loved this because it's exactly what I wanted, but now there's nothing to be expected. Um, like I know this girl Lisa Ford. She lives in Florida, and I don't know if I mean she from Colorado, but she lives in Florida. I don't know if she'll watch this. And she's dating a guy who was complete opposite. She was somebody who was very like theater, somebody that really liked art, um, kind of like likes to cuddle up and do nothing movie kind of person. And then she dated a guy that's a rock climber, hiker, um, travels around a lot, which is kind of her complete opposite. And she says it's such a drag, but it's so exciting because he's always making her go and do something she doesn't want to do, and then she ends up having fun. So there's always like a soap drama. I know Asia has this because my wife's sister watches Korean dramas, and I've seen them have like those moments on the screen where it like freezes and it's just awkward faces because it's like the shock, you know. And that shock factor is always entertaining. You'll never get bored of shock factor. If you're 80 years old and you don't know what the hell's going to come out of your partner's mouth in 5 seconds, well, you're going to be on your toes, and it's going to still be exciting. And I think the problem is when that is the actual formula for successful love in the season of Valentine's, it's also very unstable. It's an explosive concoction because that also leads to great failure, you know. And I don't know, it's one of them things. Everybody can do something better, you know. Obviously, you know, if you are in a relationship right now, or you want to be in a relationship, and if the relationship fails, well, it's honestly, it is. It's always on both people because there's always, there's always something one person can do. But then, of course, you can't beat a dead horse either, which I think is a problem too. You know, you can't. But again, where does the magic love guru figure out when the hell that it's at that point? When are you beating the dead horse, and then when are you, digging down the extra 2 inches or centimeters if you're not American of dirt until you hit the treasure trove, right? Because what's between you and a treasure? Dirt, trash, just nothing but worthless shit. Think about it. So you keep digging. Oh, dog shit. Oh, dirt. Oh, salt. Ooh, trash that's been buried. Ooh, a septic system. You keep burying and digging and digging and digging, and then eventually, when you dig deep enough, you're gonna find the treasure chest. So, but at the same time, how do you know you're not digging in the right in the wrong spot? Well, I think these recordings go up to 30 minutes. I'm gonna do the other 10 minutes, and then I'll just maybe do a part two tomorrow or later because I don't like to like overdo videos. I'm the opposite. I like to do like a video once or twice a week, and that's good enough for me. If I even do it that much. Because I don't know how many of you guys are watching or are subscribers from back in the old days, but even when I used to have this channel was popular, I did videos like once a week. I never did anything crazy. And then at my worst, it's been, I went like 2 years between like, I don't know, 2013 and 15 with like one video. And I was on a game Total Domination. So yeah, I'm not very consistent with that shit. But, oh, and this is water. It should be obvious because it's clear, but it's water. Refreshing water. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this rant, this vlog for Valentine's Day. Actually, what's funny? I think the only other vlog I did other than the science one was actually a Valentine's vlog, so it's funny because that would be consistent. Well, whatever. I guess that's it. Maybe I'll make another video later. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for your comments and whatever what you said. I didn't respond to everything obviously because honestly I don't understand some of the things in chat. I don't speak the language or I don't read it. And if we had any viewers from America, what's up? Any from Japan, konbawa. And I hope you guys have a wonderful Valentine's Day, and I wish you all the happiness and love in life. You guys have a fantastic day.